Listen, in this episode of the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast, Drake goes #1. Kanye wears these controversial outfits, new Diddy allegations, and Spotify starts removing bots. We're going to talk about all of this and more. Make sure you stay tuned, man. Let's go.
Arkatech Beatz.
Yo, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your main man, Juggernaut, and Mike Trauma D of Arkatech Beatz. Welcome to the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. If this is your first time joining, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to our channel, following the pushing the follow button, and hitting the notification bells and all that other good stuff. Just a little housekeeping. Like, I'm hearing thunder outside, man. It's really sounding crazy. But all of our episodes are sponsored by our books. Make sure you're learning the music business, right? Those are available at arkatechbeats.com. Make sure y'all checking that out. So listen, as we was talking about it in the beginning before we even went into anything right now, Drake gets a #1 song. #1 on all the charts with Nokia. Came out earlier this week, right?
The banger.
and I'm gonna get all the hate from here. So let's do me a favor. Just turn your volume down a little bit on that side, on your side, bro. Because let me tell you what's gonna happen right now. And I need people to understand and be clear what's going on. We about to get into it. We about to get a lot of Drake hate because as soon as we talk about Drake, what happens? As soon as we talk about Drake,
let's go.
What happens?
Let's go. That stimulus package gets
like everybody starts going crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Nokia video comes out.
Hot.
The joint is a masterpiece, and when I say it's a masterpiece, I say that from a commercial vibe, commercial standpoint. Like it has all of the right colors or lack thereof. It's shot beautifully. It got a lot of women. It got dancing, roller skating, owls, lights. Right? This is how a music video is supposed to look, right?
It's a good, clean looking video.
It's a good, clean video. And it matches the aesthetic and the vibe of the song perfectly.
Yep.
If you can do that in this business, make your video match the aesthetic perfectly of your song, you got a winner. That's the only way the song goes.
It doesn't look typical, like the typical corner store standing. It don't look the typical. It's a nice looking video. There has been some rumblings about people saying that he copied a little bit off of Kendrick with one of the scenes, but
right. So this is so I heard the song before, of course. I was like, okay. And I was telling you earlier, I'm taking my kids to school, and my kids are in the back seat, and then they I hear them talking about who's calling my phone. And I'm like, what are you guys singing? Right? And I'm like, are y'all singing? I said, oh man, he got the kids singing this. He got the kids singing this damn song. I said, so I'm like, man,
got
so I'm like, which one y'all like better? Y'all like this or y'all like that? Not like us. They were like, we like this one better. And I was like, ooh.
Well, this could be because it's newer. Also,
I had to ask, right? Because it's newer, right? But I had to ask, But anyhow, this is neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
For him to go #1, right? Mm-hmm. Having an active lawsuit against the label speaks volumes.
Yeah. And it's ill, Jug. Like, media take out, and I say this, with a grain of salt, when reading some of these things from different publications. But they are saying that possibly, UMG does not want this lawsuit, this whole thing to go forward. And there's possibly an offer for $250 million to kind of just let's settle this. Not yet fully confirmed, but that's what's being said, you know. What do you think? 250 million? Oh, wait, but hold on. It ain't like just take the money and
Yeah, go ahead.
everything is good. there's there's some stipulations in here. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta drop the
So what's the
lawsuit.
stipulations? What's the alleged stipulations with this here? So allegedly they want 200. They want to pay her 250 to be quiet. 250
250,
mil, quarter
drop
of a
the
billion.
lawsuit,
Okay,
and you gotta resign with Universal Music Group. You gotta come back to daddy.
you got to resign. Oh no, no, no,
Resign.
no,
You
no, no,
drop
no,
the lawsuit, you resign, and we give you the 250.
no, 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 no. Fuck that.
You said
If I'm
no?
him, I'm telling him. I'm from him. I'm telling him fuck that. Kick rocks.
Is there an amount of money that you would sign to Universal for?
No. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because I just went number one. Right. I just went number one. You can't tell me that he's getting label support right now. I know he's not getting label support
That's
right
the
now.
that's the question. Like you telling me this is organic.
Number one, no label support. Fuck them. I'm sorry. It's like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like you guys basically he's upset. Your guys didn't protect me, your guys defamed me. So I don't think that, him re-signing for any amount of money, I think he's just re-signing to be sabotaged. Why would he do
Yeah.
that?
You could be resigning to sabotage.
Yeah.
Wow.
You sign me so that you can destroy me slowly again? No, we're good.
But here's the kicker though. Like you don't sign, and will they try to sabotage him anyway?
Well, look. He can win the lawsuit and get $1 billion worth of damages and still not have to resign.
Yeah.
Right? What if he wins? That's
What
what
if he
nobody's
wins?
talking about. What if he fucking wins?
So if he wins,
If he wins the lawsuit, then if he wins the lawsuit, now he got the money to fund his career independent.
right? If he loses,
I don't think he loses. I don't.
you think he would? If he knows he's going to lose, he would settle.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think he loses. And let me tell you why I don't think he loses. Listen, man, you guys can't. Come on, man. You guys can't act like this shit was not orchestrated. This shit was orchestrated. You guys know it. You all felt it. Y'all felt that it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know that a record like that doesn't get that big like that. It just doesn't.
Do we know the number? What was the original number that he got before? And for his deal,
They said it was about half a billy, like 400 million, something like that, give or take.
and and
400.
he and he recouped that quickly.
Yeah, they try to say
So
he
this
he,
so
he,
so
he
th- this two
got that
hundred
money
fifty
back.
million. So this 250 million is a slap in the face.
Listen, he don't need to do that because again, I got a number one with no label support. One thing that listen, this is a guy who can afford to pay for all of the services that the label was paying for him. He's got enough money for that. So he
Yeah.
could pay for the best marketing team. He can pay for the best videos. He already has the formula to make the best songs. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? What are we talking about? Like, we're not talking about anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? He hasn't fallen off. That's what we needed to see. And they were hoping that he will fall off. They was hoping that public opinion would have shifted against him so bad that they would have some leverage. That he'll be like, hey, you don't got public opinion no more. You need the machine to get to where you got to go. You don't need the machine. You don't need it. It's the worst. Let me tell you, it is the worst possible outcome for Universal. Because once he jumps ship, a lot of people gonna be behind him.
Yeah, a lot of lights are gonna go out off in that building.
Once he jumps ships and once he shows the other folks how to do it, it's a wrap.
Now, let me ask you something. Being that Universal and a lot of these labels have partnerships and equity in some of these streaming companies, like if he decides to snub Universal and go direct to, direct distribution, now, would the record label have any say in behind the scenes with the Spotify? Like, hey, we need you to dim that down a bit. We need to make sure that that guy is not number one anymore. Like, can that happen?
Can I be honest with you?
Speak freely.
Listen. I intend to. I intend to speak freely. If these guys are smart, he can easily create a streaming app. Drake
I was
Radio.
gonna say that. I was gonna say tell him to go buy Tidal or something. Buy him out.
Yeah.
And revamp the whole thing.
He could easily create
a
Drake Radio app, whatever it is, and his fanfare is so big that they would go there and they would consume his content exclusively. Yep. He has enough music to be placed on there exclusively. Like, you have people that just only listen to Drake.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe so.
And the catalog, between the catalog and the features and the things that he's done over the course of the last decade, is enough to get enough variation in terms of music. That sounds like Drake, but can have Young Thug. Sounds like Drake can have Future. Sounds like Drake can have 21 Savage. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's enough. There's so much features. There's so much dual projects. Like, this guy doesn't have to. This guy can do whatever he wants, man. Like, and that's the thing that you guys should not have done. Like, you guys, I don't know what Universal was thinking. I really don't. Universal really wasn't thinking with this one. Whoever's idea it was to really say, okay, we don't want to pay this guy this money, they didn't think it all the way through. Like, should we have invested in somebody that really can't replace him? You can't replace him, man. Like, he just doesn't make the type of music to replace him. So who else do you give everything to keep the lights on?
I mean,
it's kind of like, think about it in terms of NBA player type situation. You don't let go your franchise player until you trade it for the next one, or you got somebody in the draft that can replace him.
But I thought the telling thing was how he recouped so quickly, though, right? Like, he recouped. He made you your money back and more. So why wouldn't you want to stay in business and give him some more money and up the ante a bit?
Because maybe he want more than they willing to give. Because they say he wanted a seat at the table. Right? He wants some of that universal control. Right? And and part of him might have felt that he got the complexion for the protection.
Yeah, he probably thought that. A seat at the table. Wow. That's a strong bid. That's a strong ask.
I think if anybody has earned it, it's him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Him or Taylor Swift. Like they've earned it. You know what I'm saying? It's like if Michael Jackson was asking for a seat at the table, you should have just given it to him. You know what I'm saying? At the time,
I guess they they probably have a no artist policy.
That's bullshit. Yeah, that's bullshit. And you know why I say that's bullshit? It's bullshit because just think about him. Think about the amount of careers that he's injected. Like, he's handpicked a lot of this talent.
It shows, obviously, but it's like
imagine
it's that thing like, stay over there and make us money.
Oh, fuck that!
It's one of those.
But think about this though. Imagine you got this guy. handpicking your talent.
Mm-hmm.
Not only am I going to handpick who I'm going to get the stimulus package, I'm going to collab with them. I'm going to put the albums together. We're going to show how good the projects come together. I'm making them all successful. He better than any A&R you got.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's developing. He's not only developing the talent, he's ensuring it gets through the finish line. Why would you, as a label, go against that? Like, this shit is dumb, yo. Like, yo, it shit. Yo, think about us in the 90s, right? Think about us in the late 90s. You got Big Pun, right? Because April, Big Pun month, right? Gonna be the 27th anniversary of Capital Punishment, end of the month, right? Cool. You got Big Pun. Imagine you got an artist like Big Pun, he got the big record, still not a play, right? If you could have take Pun and you could have put him on every project or every person on the label, and then it's guaranteed it went platinum, what would you have done with that? You put him on every album.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
You put him on Dead Prez, you put him on Cellar Dwellers, you put him on, right? You put him on Exhibit. Imagine you as Universal, you got that and you let it go. It's the dumbest shit ever.
So then there's something else brewing. Then there's got to be something else. Is it a ego thing? Is it a, we don't want you at our table because you're an artist and we feel certain ways about an artist? Is it one of those, well, all money ain't the type of money we want? Like, what is it?
Yeah, but then what you wind up doing is you wind up putting your entire infrastructure at risk. And you say, well, what do you mean when I say that? Like, you take the chance now of this guy showing the entire industry how to go independent.
You know what this reminds me of, Jug? This reminds me of sampling from an artist, right? And creating a potentially huge record. And the person you sample from is going to get a huge bag, and they're going to get the biggest, resurgence on their own project. And they say, I'm not clearing that sample, no. And you can't fathom, why would they do that? Why would they say no? There are just certain people in certain positions that just do things, and they don't care about the money. They don't care about what it will do. They just don't want to associate yourself with you on a certain level.
Yeah. They just don't want to do business with you.
That's what it is. For whatever.
That's what it seemed like. That's what it seemed like.
Like they don't want any artists to see what's behind the veil. They don't want the artist to sit at the table and get a load of what's going on in this paperwork and some of the meetings that we have and how we talk about artists and this, that, and the third.
I'm honestly, I'm shocked, man. You know what I'm saying? Because, and what must really hurt again is that I know they didn't expect that Nokia to go number one.
Now, what's interesting is the new judgment or the new decision of, allowing the contracts to be read out. Like Kendrick's contract can now.
I saw that report. That report, like they were saying that.
So basically, the contracts. Drake has access to now. The judge allowed it. Drake has access to Kendrick's recording contract, and I'm saying, dang, is that right? Like now this artist could go and look at your personal information or your the deal you made. Like, when is that fair game? And my question is it both ways? Can he now look at your contract and know what's going on?
He's not being sued. And then look at the other problem that you're gonna have with that. If they're giving him access to that allegedly, then what else are you gonna get access to? What else are you gonna get access to? That's the question. You see Spotify removing the bots, right? They said Spotify quietly removing bots from top records. It's not. It's, the joke is it's not telling you who, right?
Right. They
So
say
you just have to.
they're not gonna name the names.
Why not?
What do you think? They're not
Why
gonna
not?
put them on
Why
blast and
not?
say
Why is
and
not
tell them like
news?
some of the artists that you thought was hot, their streams
Oh
is
my
spotted.
god, man! Like,
But
yo,
then
listen. Why not, yo?
how about this? How about this question? Why now? Does it
It's now because your man is suing.
so now they're heading for the hills? They running out of to trying
Yeah,
to
it's
but
because
too late.
it's because he wasn't lying about what was happening. Anybody that had two eyes could see that this was all conspired, contrived. Anybody who 5 Grammys.
But I find it interesting that now, in the middle of everything, you're now going to start removing bots. Like, are you trying to do this before the investigation, before the courts? Well, why are you doing this right now?
Guys, man, this is how it's supposed to be. Look, man. If I'm him, I'm probably just as mad. And the reason why I'm just as mad is because imagine you over here making the best freaking music to make the hits. You're making the best music, and you're making it happen because you're making good songs, good records, good beats, good everything. And then every time this other person come out, they get a pass. Subpar music, they get a pass. Oh my God, it's so good. Subpar. It's not as good, but all of a sudden it gets all these accolades and everybody, you know, bullshit, man. Like, it's bullshit, man. And after a while, you're gonna get mad. Like, you're gonna be like, yo, this is bullshit, man. This is bullshit. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know when the media is fucking with you. I think we should all know that by now. Like, we should all know by now when everybody is lockstep saying the same shit in the media that we know that it's contrived. Everybody's supposed to know that by now, but it's like everybody's just still in la la land, still trying to feel like, oh, this is organic. No, it's not organic. You know it ain't organic. You feel it. You can tell. Look at all of the other songs that you used to love that you thought was dope.
So this will be interesting is to kind of see which artists. Like, I wonder if we're able to look at their numbers and see if the numbers diminished. Are we going to be able to look at the Spotify
There's
numbers?
gonna be
Look
a
at
ton of artists whose joints diminish, yo.
wow, wow.
Say again?
This should be interesting. This should be very interesting to see,
No, yo,
and to see.
a ton of guys' numbers is gonna a ton of guys' numbers is gonna disappear, bro. Yeah, a ton of guys' numbers is gonna disappear. Like this, a lot of this stuff is just not what it is, And I'm just glad that listen, we need some balance in here. And then Kanye West, he had the or pivot a little bit, but Kanye had the interview with academics, and he came out in that black KKK suit, which is just, can I even say that?
I don't know if you could. He came out in a black outfit. Let's just say that. I don't know. But but it's funny that you say that because it's kind of what Kanye's been preaching all along. Like, they could profit off of our pain and profit off of everything that. But we could barely mention certain words. We could barely mention certain things without possibly being banned or censored or whatever the case may be. So it's crazy.
it's wild. You know what I mean? And I understand it. But when you look at Academic's face, like I give him, I'm gonna give him props for being, for not showing like being shocked when he seen that, because I couldn't
Yeah, I was
imagine
looking for
being in the
that.
same room. Yeah, I can't
I
imagine. Like I know he had gotten the text before, and he said he misread it, and he's like, yeah, "He gonna
yeah.
wear what?" And for me, if him coming into the room with that, I'm just like, wow, and this is look here, man. Kanye West is an icon, bro, and
He's.
that would
I
have been
mean,
trippy to see in real time, yo.
I mean, we all know Ack is a huge fan, and he said a ton of times he's a huge fan. So I know he was having a hard time trying to not just only be a fan, but he had to stay in character to and get the interview, which
Yeah,
interviewing Kanye is not easy.
not easy.
He when he gets
So tough.
going, he just goes on a tangent. You can kind of gotta like wait it out before you can figure out what's going to be your next question. I think he only got like 4 questions in.
It's a long interview for only 4 questions, if that's what it
Yeah, I
is.
think he didn't get a lot of questions in, but it was it was an interview where it kind of left you wanting more. Like we really didn't get to the nuts and bolts of everything. Like we still need more. And unfortunately he had to go run to Japan. He felt people were after him, whatever the case may be. But like I would really like to hear more. I think, and it was funny this week. The internet started going crazy because they saw a quick snippet of him chopping up a sample, and I think I could speak for a lot of producers, man. It felt good to see that, to see him in this element, chopping up samples, kind of getting back to that to that groove that we all know Kanye is good for, making dope production, and he was chopping up a dope ass loop too.
Listen, he's one of the best to do it, man. Like let's not downplay who he is and what he's accomplished. I think that's part of the reason why you see him sometimes we get so angry. And I think you and I talked about this off camera. It was
Mhm.
like, yo, like, where's the respect? Where's the respect for what I've done in music? Where's the respect for what I've done in fashion? Where's the respect that that I get for being a black billionaire? Like, where's the respect?
Um, well, I do want to say this, man, because I think if to people like watching this, I think as far as being in the music business, I think one of the lessons that I've learned and I've seen from time to time is that, you know, people may not necessarily respect the work that you put in. No matter how hard, like I've seen when big name artists, big name producers have done so much and can't get a deal or can't get the right advance, and you're just like, you can't believe it. I remember watching a interview with Timbaland, and he was complaining how the label didn't believe in him and wouldn't give him a production deal or wouldn't give him the number, and it was like, how? You're Timbo, like Aaliyah, Missy. What are you talking about? You know, and you'll be amazed at some of the struggles that even some of the biggest producers and artists go through behind the scenes just to get their share due. And unfortunately, this music business has a way of it's not what you did yesterday, it's what you do right now kind of thing, you
Yep.
know? And it leads a lot of us to be kind of always hustling, chasing, and not being able to just kind of sit for a minute and celebrate, the work we've done. And we're running, chasing to the point when you're burnt out because you're always chasing the next thing because you know that the hit you did yesterday, yeah, that was good for yesterday, but what about today? So if your artist or producer, man, just and you're looking for some sort of acknowledgement, you're looking for some sort of, pat on the back. You may not necessarily get that in this business because the nature of the game is, it's what are you doing right now, kind of thing. So I just wanted to put that out there because it seems like Kanye is looking for that, but he may not necessarily get it. So now he's kind of like doing wild stuff, saying things or saying things that people perceive to be wild, and to get the response, to get the attention that he really deserves from the records and all the things he's done. Like he don't get enough props. He really don't.
It really, I totally agree with that, and I think that's part of the thing that I keep seeing, and I keep seeing the disrespect. It's disrespect of Kanye West. A lot of disrespect for him. And I see that over and over and over again, and it does rub me the wrong way. Because you know you know what's the blueprint without Kanye West?
Yeah, yeah.
What's Watch the Throne without Kanye West?
hmm
Like this is serious business here. You know what I mean? You don't get the takeover without Kanye West.
There's a
Like
lot of
it's
there's a
a
lot
lot
of
of there's a lot of things here with him. And I think that a lot of guys owe him, and I think that's what you see. And he's talking about like in the last interview, like a lot of people owe him for the things that they've done for him, that he's done for them. And unfortunately, in this business, everybody got short memory span.
it's kind of interesting. Him and Drake have that parallel going right now, where they've both done so much for so many artists, and these artists have somewhat turned their backs on them. So so it would be interesting to see if there's any type of collaboration between these two. They have a very interesting relationship.
Up and down relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, they have an interesting relationship, and I did hear him say something about doing something with him in the future. You know, um,
If
hope.
if there's a way for them to find some real mutual ground and to work against the power structure, because you see what Drake is doing versus UMG. Um, that's really a power move. I don't think people really respect it as such. People think that it's all about the not like us thing, but I think it's deeper than that. I think it really shows um it shows how artists can be owned by the label or have this level of indentured servitude, and artists can once they reach a certain level, they artists want to flip the script, like you said, right? We
Mhm.
no longer want to be um indentured to you guys anymore. We want to sit at the table now. And then these guys are like, oh no, you don't belong at the table. You're
Right,
not supposed to be here. And
right.
no, times have changed. Right? Like times have changed. I've proved my worth. I've proved my value. Let me get a piece of this pie. Right. Granted, he's the one out of thousands of artists that are able to have done enough to probably get that pay for that seat. Right.
hmm
And I just don't think Universal is thinking it through again. I go back to saying what I said before. I just don't think that they're looking at what this guy can potentially blow up. If this guy decides to partner with Kanye West, which I don't see happening, but let's just say it does, like then you guys are gonna have like a total revolt against the music business.
A Kanye Drake streaming platform, or
It's
or
dangerous, man.
anything like that
Dangerous.
will turn this industry on its back.
Yeah, it's dangerous. You know, and I truly believe that this defamation lawsuit, and people may say, "Oh, he's a punk for doing that defamation suit," and because he understands that defamation, that label as a PDF, that
hmm
label that's carried with him, he knows that that's what will be used when it's time for them to do the Diddy on them.
Right,
Pause.
right, right. When they're ready to do that, then
Yep.
that's already in the air.
That's already in the air. It's already poisoned everybody, right? Because you've already put that out there and you've poisoned everybody to believe that already in public opinion. So now when it's time for you to crucify him, like the way that you guys try to do with Jay-Z and try to do it, doing with Diddy currently in terms of like allegations and all of this stuff, because, you know, everybody know that he's into the ladies. So it's not going to take a lot for you to be able to find somebody who, you know, may feel underrepresented, during their relationship. And I'll say that's how I'll say it. Somebody who feels slighted by their past relationship now to say, hey, we want to tear him down. Because
Right.
that's typically how this game works. Is that we'll find somebody who had a legitimate relationship and then turn it into a sex trafficking. Or somebody who you had a consensual and public relationship with that turned into now abuse and all types of things.
Man. And here I thought it was all just music.
Nah, bro.
You know,
This
like
is dirty. This is
like
dirty business, man.
like you want to get into this music business and you want to make your records, whether it's an artist, producer, writer, and you come to find out that there is so much more going on behind the scenes, and that young kid getting in this game who's just naive and gullible and just wants to make music. But look at all of these things that you have to watch out for. And it's sad, it's scary, it's all of those things, when reality hits, like what the music business is and who's involved and what it's attached to. And when you get into this business, you really have to educate yourself with not just the actual business, but the business of what's happened behind the scenes and how to protect yourself so that you're not a victim or you fall into any of these traps. It's just it's wild.
But just imagine you become rich, you become famous. You become rich, you can't party, right? You
Yeah.
become you become rich, you can't enjoy the company of the opposite sex the way they have it going right now. And in some cases you can't even enjoy the company of the same sex, right? The way they got this shit going right now. It's like what's the point of celebrity at this point? What's the point of being rich if you can't enjoy the spoils of everything that you had to sacrifice to earn that? You
Yeah.
know, and people are saying, well, what does that mean? Like, I mean? Like,
You're a slave
you
to
know,
success.
yeah, and it's like, it's one of these things where it's like, come on, man, like I don't understand this thing where they're going on with these guys. But
It's
again,
to, yeah, it's to the point where it's almost like, I mean, I've seen this with, I think, an Eminem interview at one time where he's like, you can't even fully like go outside or do certain things that you normally would love to do. And it makes you really wonder, it really makes you kind of recalculate and rethink, like, what is success? What is celebrity? What is fame? What is freedom? You know, you really got to think about it and see what is it worth it? 50 Cent, you know, he was talking on another interview about him finding a woman or being with a woman, and a girl that he was with must have asked him for something, whether it was some money for an investment or something, and he was like, "There it is," and it was Splitsville after that. So it's like, as a successful artist, when you get into relationships, you kind of apprehensive. You don't know like what's the plot of the next
what's
person.
what's the what's the motive?
Yeah, you don't know what the motive is, and and the funny thing is that's on any level. You could just be a producer with one placed record, and you meet somebody and they think you're going somewhere, and they play you close until and sit around with you and watch you grind And then when you make it, they come at you sideways for this, that, and the third, and it's just it's a ill game, and it attracts a lot of vultures and sharks, man. It's wild, man.
They're saying Diddy got some. What they're saying? Somebody filed something else against Diddy allegedly. What's it saying?
Yeah, I read that they
They
fought
said they hit with new sex trafficking charges. Like what is this? You
from
know
the
what I mean?
same people or something like that, but it's new charges.
Like,
You
look here,
know,
man.
they
And,
won't they won't they won't let off him.
listen and listen and no and look, I'm not taking the sex trafficking thing like lightly. I don't want anybody to feel that I'm taking that lightly. It's just you know, um, from what I understand with his situation is that people travel with him and he has and they had the parties. So it's like if that's considered sex trafficking. That's like wow.
Yeah,
A lot of guys have to really reconsider what the hell's going on.
Boosie said the same thing. He said that guys gotta really be careful because the way that they're wrapping this whole thing up is if you know you fly a girl out, because you're gonna party or you're just accustomed to this individual. You buy her a bag, or you give her
Yeah,
some money for her time, because maybe she took a day off from work or whatever the case may be, and you compensated her, whether it's you took her shopping or you bought her something, and it's trafficking. Like that
it's
question
considered
mark pops up.
prostitution.
It's that question mark pops up. Like it's a very some will say it's a gray area, but the law may say no, it's a pretty much fine line. So, you know, cats really got to be careful. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you go into a new city and you meet someone you can't trust them. You find yourself backdoored, lined up. So it's like you really got to be careful. So I don't know, man. We
Tired. I'm
gotta,
tired, bro.
yeah, it's a lot, and you just gotta keep
Yeah,
your eyes open, man.
I'm tired, bro. I look at that type of stuff and I'm like, that stuff don't even make sense to me, man. Like it don't even compute. And like I just look at that and I just go, I wait for this era to be over. Like to me, this era is just yeah, like
It's
it's
crazy.
too much. You know what I'm saying? Like it's too much, man. Like I'm looking at all of this stuff and I'm like, yo, this is too much, man. It's like an era of madness, man. You know what I'm saying? I thought things was bad before, but it's like it's even worse. I'm looking at this and I'm like, you know, and there's a lot of talk on the street about him. They're saying there's a lot of talk about Diddy, potentially being pardoned after that whole thing. Like there's a lot of talk in the street about that because there's a lot of people feel like he should have gotten bond. And I think you and I talked about that in a different place before.
Well, even between that, then we still have to, you still have these other artists that, have to be careful about the, possible RICO indictments and things of that, So there's a lot of other artists that, you know, need to keep an eye out also, you know. Um,
Did you see that thing where they said that they wanted to revoke Young Thug's probation?
yes, yes. But I don't think that stood. I think something else came down that's not going to stand. But they tried it because I believe it was a post. He
Yeah,
did a
he was talking
post, and then
about
the
it
and
being.
then and then the people started commenting. People commented and started revealing addresses and things like that. Which is dangerous. Um, but sometimes you just have some overzealous fans that go far and beyond and really can make things even more difficult for the artist.
Well, what do
You
we
know,
what did we say about his probation? It was too long, right? We said
too
his
long,
probation
man.
was too long,
He said it's
and that it puts him at a ridiculous level of risk.
ridiculous. This dude, anything could happen.
Anything can happen with this guy. Anything, and he go back. Like,
Yep, yep. So
how does he even make bread? Because he can't do certain records. He can't talk about certain things. Like, what? what's really what we talking about right at this
I
point?
don't
Because,
know. It's
can he
like you
even
gotta
go live? Like if he goes
nah.
live stream, like
That
something.
wouldn't be smart to go live. Like before you post anything, you need to just really edit everything, look at everything, and make sure everything is fine before you post it. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be walking around on eggshells, and that ain't no way to live. So hopefully, they can work that situation out better. Because being perfect, you know, for however many years that's gonna be, good luck. What else is going on? You still
You said
got Dirk. You still got Dirk still inside.
ain't nobody talking about that, right?
You
That stuff
know,
quiet.
it's
I
quiet.
don't hear I don't hear nothing about that.
Yeah. Um. The only other thing is the Big U. That's been a little quiet this week. So I
They
guess
said
everything is just waiting for trials.
that's just Then I heard that they saying no jumper numbers run out of money.
Yes. Yeah. 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 They shouldn't have bought that building. But they bought that building during the pandemic. So, and pandemic time, a lot of things were inflated. A lot of like things that were happening were inflated only because people were home watching.
Right.
So now that people are back to work, people are not necessarily really like watching as hard. So all the numbers that they saw definitely dwindled. So I don't know.
I think a lot of it also too is that the content is just not as good.
Content has changed.
Yeah, his content isn't as good. And then also too, I think a lot of people on our in our demographic are kind of waking up and looking at that. These guys are not going to keep being able to exploit the other demographics that way. I think people are waking up to that and they're seeing that and they're turning their back on that. So the Vlads and Adam 22s and these guys they have to kind of tread lightly because there's going to be if the narrative is everybody that comes on your platform goes to jail, you know.
But Jug, man, people will do anything for fame. I don't think a lot of these folks care if they go to jail. To be honest with you, with the way that
I,
they're behaving,
I'm seeing that.
like doing things in broad daylight with no mask and just getting on interviews and really just talking about what they just did, what they did, and where you can find this and like like the way folks want fame so bad and want notoriety so bad, it really makes you wonder, like, what the hell happened to them in their childhood that makes them want this much attention, this much notoriety? Like, what? You never got a hug when you were a kid or something? Like, what the? Why do you wanna? Why do you want to be that guy? Why do you want to be on Front Street known as the guy that did this and now has to go to jail and do life? It makes no sense. Like, I don't. Why would you? I don't get it.
Me neither.
You get
It's
up here,
definitely
you get on the platform and start admitting to your crimes and saying you were here and there and doing this and a part of this and you did this, and it's just like the, the feds are just watching this stuff like, this
making it
guy,
easy.
this is easy. This is easy work. You
I'm
solving crimes. The internet is solving crimes like crazy these days too.
internet better than the feds. Like
Yeah.
if the way it looked like to me, internet better than the feds.
They got so many YouTube videos up of people's crimes and like what they did and they got documentaries of different artists and what they've done and it was just like what?
Yeah, the internet better than the feds, bro. From what I'm seeing, like I see the internet's better than the feds. I don't want anybody to really get themselves jammed up, man. But you know, I think there's too many guys talking about too much bullshit. And to be honest with you, it's like,
Right. Not
you
enough
know what I'm
not enough
saying?
positive not enough positive good vibes doing things that's going to get us out of our situations, you know.
And I think you guys are talking about criminality to a generation that doesn't respect it. You know, I think this generation don't really care about that. You know what I'm saying? Like they're more, they're not into that, like how we may have grown up on that. You know what I'm saying? Growing up on gangster films and, you know, Scarface and Godfather and all of that. Like I don't think people is on that anymore. I think people look at that stuff and just look at everybody like who's talking that type of crap. It's like you're a crash out, and it's like you're just. I think they're really laughing at you.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? To be honest, they're watching you, but they're really just laughing at you. Like there's no respect for doing what you do. You know, but that could be me. I could be wrong, but at the end of the day, you know, these guys have to pivot. Everybody has to pivot and has to figure it out. Like the talking head video sometimes ain't really the thing, and it is what it is. But again, folks, this is the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast, man. Make sure y'all following us at Arkatech Beatz, everything Arkatech Beatz. We've been going live at night, playing records at night, making beats, showing beats, and showing people how to make some beats. What's the people saying to you, brother?
Max B chimed in the other day.
You ready?
And he heard some heat that put him through the flames, and we probably be connect with him hopefully next week. Just on the live or something. We'll figure it out, man. See if we can get him or something.
That'd be dope.
That'd be dope.
Gotta get him on the live.
But people enjoying the records that they're hearing, and they're looking forward to hearing more, and getting their hands on some, and yeah, that's what we do.
What we doing, man? Make sure y'all checking us out at arkatechbeats.com. arkatechbeats.store if you're looking for music. We definitely need to get this thing going, man. Any parting words for these folks out here?
Oh man, parting words. I just gotta say, man, just be careful of how you move out there, man. Not just in the music business, man, but just everywhere else, man. It's a funny time we're living in. Things are not always what they seem to be. A lot of lies, a lot of fraudulent things are happening, and a lot of changes are happening. So pay attention, be careful, walk lightly, and be safe out there.
I couldn't have said it better than that, cuz. If anything, stay safe out there.
Peace.
Peace, y'all. Be safe.
Arkatech Beatz.